And we're live. Right, how's it, everybody? I see there's hundreds of you already in the room, so welcome to this very special session with a very, very special guest that I feel very privileged to actually get to talk to. So really great to have you guys with us. You can say hi to each other. You can see the comments. Just confirm that you can hear us loud and clear. We have had this technical issue before, so please just type in loud and clear if you can hear us loud and clear, so that we know we are broadcasting and I don't talk away and find out there's a technical issue, which has happened before. Okay, there we start seeing the loud and clears come. Got it, okay. A lot of people in the room, Gerard, so this thing's gonna fly. trying to read what people are typing, not very practical. I see lots of loud and clear, so that's a great start. So one of the questions before we get going is where are you guys joining us from? Let us know if you're outside of South Africa, which country you're joining us from. I would assume most of you in South Africa. Just let us know which city or town you're joining us from, just so we can get indication of where everyone is joining us from. First person up, Zimbabwe, and then we just go. Lots of Johannesburg, Josie's, South Africa, Namibia. I can't read. This doesn't help when we have over 500 people in the room, and they're all typing at the same time. But that's great. We're broadcasting. It's exciting to have you guys with us. And of course, super exciting to have the special guest, in the form of Robert Kiyosaki, who's a legend in no other terms in the space of personal finance and development. Now, I don't think Robert needs much of an introduction because, if you don't know the name Robert Kiyosaki, which is one of the most, synonymous names when it comes to personal finance, you probably heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which, as a brand, the name Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad, Poor Dad are probably the strongest in our industry of self-development and business development in the world. So, you're going to be talking to a man that's all envy for the amount of incredible brand awareness that he's created. But of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, absolute legendary book. I mean, I've read it 3 times, I think. If you haven't read it, you shouldn't even be here. Go to the shop and buy it tomorrow and read it, because it's the cornerstone of where Robert comes from. He's obviously written many books since then. But we're very, very privileged to have him. I mean, Robert is pretty much retired. He doesn't need to spend time doing this. He does it out of his own free will. And thank you very much to Veronica and Richard Tan at Success Resources, because they make this possible to happen. And Robert's actually going to be in South Africa. So at the end, we'll tell you about some opportunities to spend some time with him. But enough from me. I want to really get into it. So Gerard, I must just stop sharing my screen. That's right, eh? And then Robert will pop up. Now we've got 3 screens up, Gerard. There we go. Perfect. So firstly, Robert, thank you so much, for taking time out. I mean, I know your schedule is crazy. You're busy doing so much stuff. And it's really, really amazing to have you talking to almost 600 people in South Africa at this moment. So thank you so much for taking time out for that.
Oh, thank you. I really love South Africa. I love the continent of Africa. And I look forward to visiting the great continent every chance I get.
Yeah, well, we're going to be seeing you formally in a few months' time, so we'll tell people about that at the end. But I just wanted to I know there's so much you can talk about, and we don't have a ton of time, so you can lead into certain things you might want to talk about. But I mean, for those that aren't as familiar, they know you. Like, a lot of people know the brand, but they don't necessarily know, the core teaching of like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I sort of said to people that we're going to talk about creating financial freedom in South Africa. Now, of course, I know that you're going to say, I mean, the methods that you teach are not specific to a country or specific to an area. They're specific to anyone that wants to create financial wealth. But what is the reason that most people never create it and very few do it? And what is the common mistakes that people make in their ambition? Because everyone wants financial freedom, but so few actually achieve it.
Well, I always ask the question, what did school teach you about money? And the answer for most people is nothing. And we actually learn about money from poor people or middle class people. Like, my poor dad was a highly educated man, but he was a poor man. He had no money. He went to Stanford, University of Chicago, Northwestern, but he had no money. And most people learn from poor teachers. So they don't learn anything about money. And they go in to get a job, they work hard, and then they can't figure life out from that position. So back around 1981, I started saying to myself, I better go teach, because it's not fair that just the rich get richer and everybody else gets poor. So that's kind of my shtick, and I really wish I didn't have to teach. I wish everybody was rich and happy. But without financial education, the odds of you becoming rich and happy are very slim. So anyway, like I said, I love coming to Africa. If I was 20 years old again, I'd move to Africa because that's where the opportunity lies. And generally, opportunity is found in crisis. And we all know Africa's in crisis. But if I was 20 years old again, count me in. It's a great place. It's going to be the richest country. It is the richest country in the world. You just have a poor education system. So anyway, that's what I'm about.
Yeah, I think it's a nice message, and it's great when people like you mention that, because the kind of common trend in Africa is to think the grass is so much greener on the other side. But I think, and it's not only you, but a lot of successful people that echo the fact that this is the land of opportunity, and this is definitely Africa's time. In the next 10 and 20 years. So it's great to be here. So I mean, so the lack of education is the issue, but in terms of behavior, like so many people say, I don't have any money to start with. How am I supposed to create wealth? They live on the edge of their seats. They live, to the max of what they earn, and they don't know where to start. Where would somebody start if they decided now that I wanted to create financial, wealth in my life over time? Where would the starting point be in from your perspective?
Well, it depends upon the person and what do you want. How many people want to be middle class? And if you just want to be middle class, go to school, get a job, work hard, save money. But if you want to be rich, which is the other side of it, then you need a different type of education. So when I'm coming to Africa, and I'm always talking about what my rich dad taught me, and it's very opposite of what my poor dad taught me. My poor dad, I was a pilot in Vietnam, and in 1973, when I returned to the States, my poor dad wanted me to get my master's degree, my MBA. And I said, why? He says, because when you get your MBA, then you get your PhD. I said, why? And then my rich dad said, if you want to be rich, you have to understand money, you have to understand debt, you have to understand taxes, and you have to understand real estate. Because the word real estate really means real estate. I mean, real is royal estate. It's what the rich own, and gold and silver. So our school systems actually teach people to be more like my poor dad. So every time I come to Africa and I speak, I find great people willing to listen, because Africa is a rich country. But you have a school system and an infrastructure that keeps people poor. And if you keep doing what your school tells you to do, you'll be poor too, like my poor dad. So I'm very excited because, excuse me, I have a cough. The world is changing at a very high rate of speed. And the old guys are going to get wiped out anyway. So you may as well come and listen to what I have to say about what the new guys are going to do.
Fascinating. So for those that don't know, Robert's going to be in July. We'll give you details of that at the end of the session. And Robert's going to spend a lot of time on stage sharing the most current and up-to-date understanding of what's going on and what you guys should be doing. And he's bringing some of his legendary advisors and friends with him as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. I remember you mentioning, I love the term when you spoke about God's money and people's money and government's money. And I know that you said you're going to address that at the event. Do you want to give us a little taste of what that's about?
Oh, you sweet talking devil, it's my favorite subject. I just love the subject of money. I don't know why. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to know why we didn't teach us about money at school. And my school teacher said, well, just go back to school. And I said, well, I'll still be poor like my poor dad. But anyway, I'll be talking about this. It's called, the future of money. That's my subject. And today there's three kinds of money. There's God's money, which is gold and silver. You have government money, which is the US dollar, the yen, the rand, the euro, and the peso. And you have people's money, which is Bitcoin or blockchain, Ethereum, and those monies. So what I'm saying, I've been saying this for like 30 years now, is this money here, government money, is corrupt money. And as you know, the rand is in serious trouble. The yen is in serious trouble. The dollar's in serious trouble. Our school teachers and our parents say, well, go to school and work for money. Well, why would you work for this stuff? See, this is God's money. And gold and silver will be here when the cockroaches are dead. It's been here since God put the planet together. And then the people's money, which is Bitcoin, is going after government money. And these guys want to take down government money. So all of you who read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, excuse me, I had my cough. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it said the rich don't work for money. The rich don't work for this garbage here. You don't find me saving dollars. You don't find me saving rand. You don't find me doing anything with it. So since the start of Rich Dad, Poor Dad 21 years ago, I said, this is the one that's in trouble. Yet most people are struggling financially working for this, whether it be the dollar or the rand or the euro or the peso. So at the conference, I'll be speaking about the future of money. And it's very exciting, except for these guys here. And I'm not saying this is bad. You have to know why you need to hold on to the rand or the dollar, and why you need to understand gold and silver, and why you understand Bitcoin, or it's not so much Bitcoin, it's blockchain technology, which is going to wipe out this stuff. Gold and silver will always be here. So, I have over here that's what I'll be speaking at the Business and Investor Summit with Success Resources. And I'll also be doing smaller seminars with uncoveringgreatness.com. And I'll be talking to smaller groups in South Africa about what's happening in the future and how to prepare for it. But I've been doing this for 21 years, and I love talking about money because, as you know, our schools don't teach us anything about money, and that's not a mistake. So that's what I'll be talking about.
And I mean, Robert, the school factor, I mean, I haven't been to school for a long time, but I'm sure you got your finger on the pulse. Have they still not started to change the way they educate people around money and business and wealth creation? Or is there some light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to general schooling around the world?
I wouldn't waste my time going to school today. I have, well, it depends on what you want. You want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you got to go to school. Yeah. But if you want to be rich, you don't have to go to school. You have to you have to know how to read and write and do math. But other than that, what they teach you in school is opposite of what I do. For example, in school, they tell you don't cheat. And cheating in school means giving help to somebody in need. Well, I'm coming to South Africa for the Business and Investor Summit with some of my best guys I cheat with. I'm coming with Tom Wheelwright, who's my CPA, and he's going to be talking about taxes. Now, if you're going to be rich, you got to understand taxes. Everybody says, well, American taxes are different than South African taxes. No, they're not exactly the same. And so Tom is going to be talking about taxes. That means I don't have to tell you about taxes because Tom's a real teacher. He understands taxes. And taxes are your single largest expense unless you're a crook or somebody who's poor, because I don't have to pay taxes legally. And the other person is Sandy, who's coming with me. And what he's going to be talking about is, as we all know, the market's going to crash pretty soon. And all the amateurs are going to get wiped out. All these guys in America with their 401ks and their stocks, bonds, and these ETFs, man, what a bunch of garbage that is. But when the market crashes, we all know they're going to get wiped out. So Sandy is going to be part of my team. He's going to be talking how you make money when markets come down. So that's what you've got to understand really in financial education, how markets go up and markets come down and how you make money going both ways. And you must understand taxes, because why work hard and give it to the government? This latest Trump tax cut for Americans, I hate to tell you guys this, but he screwed the working class. He screwed the middle class. The rich got richer, thank God. I got better tax breaks. But if you went to school and you have a job, you just got screwed. And so most school teachers in America just got screwed. It's sad, it's tragic, but they don't know the difference because they don't have any financial education. So come to the Business and Investor Seminar and find out, just be aware of why things are so different for the rich and why the business, the entrepreneur, and why the investors are getting far ahead, and employees like school teachers and doctors and attorneys are falling far behind. This is a time to wake up and not pretend everything's going to be the same.
Yeah, and I think and Robert, I mean, you've obviously witnessed this. You've been around a lot longer than I have, and obviously in the space of creating wealth a lot longer. But I mean, the world has just accelerated so much. I mean, it's really not time to be naive and sit back and wait to do it another day. I mean, it's really time to take action with it now, isn't it?
Well, a lot of people say, they talk about the competitor, is your competitor Facebook or this and all that stuff. Your competitor is the future, because the future is going to change so fast that if you're not up to it, you're going to be wiped out. So that's why I talk about God's money, here. God's money will be here 50 years from now. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Now, the dollar won't be here. And, Bitcoin may not be here, but blockchain might be here. So if you're just sitting at home, saying, well, I've already heard all that, I don't have to do anything different, just remember this: your competitor is the future. In America today, they already have trucks coming on the road without truck drivers. And as you guys in Africa know, it's your truck drivers who keep Africa alive. As soon as they can get artificial intelligence to drive a truck, every truck driver is obsolete. They're out of business. So I'll say it again, your competition is the future. And that's why what I'll be talking about is the future of money. Because if you're still working for the Rand and you're saving Rand, I'll pray for you tonight.
That's fascinating. And just to remind everyone, Robert is going to be in South Africa, in Johannesburg, on the 28th and 29th of July. We'll give you details at the end of the session on that. Bring in some of his friends like Tom and Sandy, who are going to, really share the latest and most relevant stuff. And I think, you've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, I've been hearing you talk about it for a long time. I mean, and I think, and it's just like the longer people leave it, the bigger the problem's going to be for them going forward, right?
Well, I hate to say this, I just turned 71 a few days ago. Hey, sports fans, it doesn't get easier as you get older. You know what I mean? And so while you're still young, you should do it. That's why I say if I was 21 today, I'd be in Africa, because Africa is the land of opportunity right now, because you have corrupt governments, as you know that, you have corrupt education, and you have a lot of people unemployed, and it's a great place to start. Also, I will plug, if I go to uncoveringgreatness.com, because I'll be talking to different smaller groups about how you can go to longer term education and what can you do, and spend time with people who are committed, for their future. If you think it's go to school, get a job, work hard, and save money, and that's good for you, like I said, I think you'll probably get wiped out. So that's why my talk is about the future of money. I don't think the dollar or the Rand will be around in 50 years, but I know gold and silver and blockchain will be. Your job is to figure out which one you're going to work for.
And I mean, a lot of people are asking, I see in the comments about cryptocurrency. I think there's still, obviously it's been in the headlines so much over the last sort of year. And I mean, you keep mentioning, and just to maybe illustrate for people, we use Bitcoin as the example because it's the one that's been there the most, but blockchain is the technology behind cryptocurrency that Robert keeps referring to. And so he's not in any way proclaiming that, Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency. Obviously it's getting the most publicity now, but there's many others coming out, and there's many more coming into the market all the time, right?
Correct. This reminds me of the year 2000. Year 2000, when the dot-coms came on board, and there was all these dot-com companies, and everybody was just throwing, if you put, RobertKiyosaki.com, I could raise $1 million. Well, that's where Bitcoin or cyber currency is today. Everybody's just throwing money at it. And one or two will survive, but I would say 80% won't survive. And so you just got to pay attention. I'll say it again. Your competition is the future, because it's going to change so fast. And if you cannot adjust and change with it, then shame on you. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And if you think you know all the answers, then I'll pray for you also, because I definitely know I don't know all the answers. Is that I never invested in Bitcoin, but I invested in Ethereum, because I have very good friends who are well into investing into Ethereum. So it does count on who your friends are that you're going to get rich. And if you're hanging out with friends who are poor, or family members are poor, or brothers and sisters who are poor, your odds aren't good, because your brain will be too slow for the future.
Yeah, and I think the reality as well is that it's not a question of come into the event in July and you're going to learn everything. It's a question of continuous education, right? Because of the fast movement, things are changing all the time. I know you're a huge protagonist of constantly learning, constantly sharing. And that's, I mean, if you want to be wealthy and you want to take control of your life financially, you've got to make it something that you take seriously all the time.
Correct. And what I'm trying to say also, if you're poor today and you find out about a trend coming up, you'll be rich tomorrow. But if you're poor today and you don't learn anything new, you're still poor tomorrow. Yeah. So that's why, I come to South Africa. I love South Africa. I love talking to you guys. I come and I'll do smaller seminars with uncovering greatness and things like this because I love your country. I love your people. But your government's corrupt and your education's corrupt. And many businesses are corrupt. A lot of teachers are corrupt. So if you don't change your friends and your attitude and your mindset, then when the changes come, you don't change with them. So my talk is, specifically on the future of money, but my friend and personal advisor, Tom Wheelwright, be talking on taxes, because taxes are your single largest expense in America as well as South Africa.
I mean, that's something you've always spoken about.
Yes, really bad. My incentive that we're talking about, when the market comes down, that's when you get rich.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandy's the best, isn't he? I mean, Sandy's the guy. I love crashing markets. I love it. When it comes down, you get rich.
But you're waiting, Robert. I know you've been talking about the big crash that's come in, but it's something that you actually look forward to versus most other people that have to fear it.
Correct. But it's not a big prophecy. All markets go up and all markets come down. Most markets crash every 10 years. The last crash was 2008. Oh, let's see, it's 2018. That's 10 years.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Exactly.
So the biggest opportunity or the biggest disaster awaits you. It depends upon your mindset to the crash and what opportunities you see. And if you're hanging out with poor friends, you probably won't see it. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, and that's what quite a few people are asking, Robert, and maybe you've got an answer for it. Is how do you find the right people to hang out with? It's a common question on the back of you saying, and I've always said it as well. We got to, my success was really based on me realizing I've got to hang out with people that are more successful than me to pull me up, rather than everyone else that sort of keeps me the same. But how do you find, or what's your advice on how people should start hanging out with different types of people, particularly in a wealth perspective?
Well, I have a new book coming out the end of this month. It's going to be online, and it's called Fake. Because, as you know, there's fake news, there's fake everything today. There's fake television, everything's fake. Yeah. But it's about fake money, fake teachers. Most school teachers are fake. And then there's fake assets. And most assets are fake. Like, people think their house is an asset when it's really a liability. But the way I learn is I go to seminars. And one of the things I talk about is the story of the three wise men. I'm not religious, so I'm not pitching a deal. One of the best stories I heard was the story of the three wise men. And I asked my Sunday school teacher, I said, what made the wise men wise? And what the teacher said to me was, what made the wise men wise was not money. What made the three wise men wise was their search for the better teacher. You're always looking for the next teacher. So that's all I do. I go to seminars, I look for different teachers and all this, I sit down, listen to them. And I want the teachers that's going to say it so far outside the box, so I stretch my mind. Now, if you go to school, you'll find fake teachers. Why would you go to school? Not today, unless you want a college degree. But you've got to search for teachers. And when you find people who search for teachers, you find new friends. Now, not all of them are good, of course. But I've met most of my friends at seminars because they're wise people. They're wise men and women searching for the new teachers. If you have friends who are not actively searching for the new teacher or the new idea, I dump them. I really would. I wouldn't waste my time.
Yeah. And I mean, and by the way, everyone, just pay attention to, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, who is, arguably known as one of the best people in the personal finance game in the world today, and how he's talking about how he goes to seminars and how he goes and finds people that he can learn from. because, you know, that is the cornerstone to any kind of evolvement in life, is that continuous educational self-improvement. And, you know, I've said it before, and yes, test me with a very successful, wealthy person literally saying it to you as well. So it's part of the journey. And I love that you say that, because obviously I'm in the industry, but like, I've met so many incredible people and such incredibly wealthy people just by attending events, you know, and just by positioning myself correctly and being humble, of course, not walking up and expecting people to give you time and energy. But I mean, I look back like from 5 years ago, I'm blessed to have the kind of people on my phone today that I have compared to what I used to have 5 years ago. So it's just a process of going out there and doing it and connecting, I suppose, to a large degree.
I was just in Puerto Rico on the real estate guys cruise, Summit at Sea cruise. And people say, well, why do you go to a real estate seminar? To meet other real estate investors. And I listen to the instructors. And I sit down, I have, you know, the thing about being on a cruise ship in the Caribbean is you have a lot of time. I sit there and I spend talking to guys how they're doing certain deals and doing this and doing that. And I hang out with guys and a lot of women going for it. And then I come back home and most of my neighbors, they're sound asleep. They're sound, they're rich, but they have no idea what's going on. Most of them just married rich guys and divorced them. That's my Kim's friends. And I don't think they're going to make it. You know, they have a lot of money, but they're not up to date. And so I go on seminars to meet people who are up to date, people who are doing things differently. So that's why I go to seminars, not school.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I think, I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because I suppose historically, you know, wealth was kept in families very, very effectively, you know, 100 years ago and into sort of the modern age. But being rich in the short term and not being proactive in learning how to use that money going forward does not mean you will necessarily stay rich. And that's what you're saying. I mean, rich people in inverted commas are people that are still going to lose in the process because of this, of how fast it is now, right?
Yeah, look, you know, I think that's an old saying about birds of a feather hang out together. And if your friends are a bunch of turkeys, you'll be a turkey.
Yeah,
that's wouldn't do it. I don't mind there's two things that are the most important in life. Number one is your time. It's a great asset. Second is your money. So where do you spend your time and money determines your life. For example, you know, if I leave here and I go sit in a bar and drink and smoke and all that, I'm going to hang out with other guys just like me, smokers, drinkers, you know, sucking down the alcohol, or I can go to the gym. Which one do you want to go to? And it's not that hard. It's the same thing with money. You know, I mean, most people have very low-class ideas on money. They spend their money very poorly. So how can I help them? Well, just don't hang out with them because they make me sick and I make them sick. So it's really your friends and family and who you hang out with and where you spend your time and your money. And like I said, I'm going to do 2 more talks this year for schools, but I think that's the last one because they're too slow. Schools are just too damn slow because the teachers are slow. I don't want to be slow. I want to be faster. So that's why, you know, like I said, I'll be doing 2 seminars. One is the TANS Business and Investment Summit and uncoveringgreatness.com, and go there because I'm talking to people who want to move faster. You want to move slower? Go to school.
Yeah. It's. I mean, this has been you. I mean, this is you been preaching this for a long time, of course, because this is the basis of your whole.
I wonder why teachers don't like me. You know, that's my poor dad. He didn't like what I had to say either. My rich dad. So my poor dad went to school, and my rich dad went to seminars. Warren Buffett goes to seminars. I want you to hear. Warren Buffett said the most important seminar he went to was a Dale Carnegie seminar on how to public speaking. Yeah. He doesn't hang his college degree on the wall in his office. He hangs his Dale Carnegie seminar certificate on his office wall. Look, seminars are where it's happening today, not school. Get that, get that. And there you can meet people who are like you. People are proactive, not people just sitting around at home drinking beer and smoking and doing a couple of lines of Coke. I mean, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, for the guys listening, for those that choose to come and see Robert when he's here in South Africa, particularly to the Business and Investor Summit, bring your kids, okay, not your little kids necessarily, but bring the kids, bring the teenagers, you know, let them come and hear an education that you yourself didn't get when you were that young. Because, I mean, you know, we all know when it comes to mastering money that, you know, the quicker we start, the better we can do with it. And I think, you know, 100% right. I mean, the base of what, and you know, what we teach in our kids is not very good either, because our example is to be middle class and or poor. And this is the problem, because such a small percentage of people are really successful financially. We all just look at everyone else and we just buy into the common sort of middle-class society and entertainment-based society, and that becomes the cause of what we do. Robert, I want to pick up on something that you've said a couple of times. It's a well-known quote of yours, but you know, there's certain people when it comes to wealth generation that talk about saving and being frugal and you know, not living a lifestyle, etc. And I know you are definitely not one of those people. So, you know, just touch on your understanding around that. I mean, you don't have to live a penniless lifestyle in order to become rich, right? I mean, you can really have it both ways, and that's something you've always been, you know, teaching people.
Well, a lot has to do with what goes on between your ears here, and but the reason I'm going to be talking about the future of money, which you have gold, which is God's money, government money, and people's money, is government money, which is the rand and the dollar are corrupt. They're designed to make you poor. I want to say that for those of you working for the dollar, the yen, the rand, peso, all excuse me, all currencies were designed to make people poor. So that's rich dad's lesson number one, and rich dad, poor dad, was the rich don't work for money. You want to work for money and be poor? Have a good life. Go to school, become a school teacher. And God's money, you can't. It's a thing called counterparty risk. You don't have to trust anybody else with God's money. Gold and silver are God's money. They'll be here long after the cockroaches are dead. And now you have people's money, which is the cyber currency, which is taking on government money. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. It's called the future of money. And most people listening right now are working for this. In South Africa, you're hoping to make a few more rand. That's ridiculous. Rand's one of the worst currencies around. You guys know that, I know that. Why? Because your government's corrupt. Same as my government's corrupt. Same as the Japanese government's corrupt. So I don't trust government money. And I think people's money, I'm not saying which one will survive, but it's going to give this one a run for the money. And that's why I like this one. You know, I love, my first gold coin I ever bought was the Krugerrand, 1974. I have thousands of them. And I don't call gold Krugerrands investment. I call them insurance policies against this money, government money.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And for you, well, I think I'll go back to get my college degree and all that. You're obsolete. You're too behind the scenes. You're not going to make it because you're just going to get a job to work for a rand or dollar or peso or yen or Swiss francs or Deutschmark or euro. That's what I'm going to be talking about. Well, I don't have time. I don't have money. Well, good. That's the only two things we got in life, time and money.
Yeah, and I love that you point that out, because a lot of people don't realize that. And, you know, time is a constant, and you have the same amount of time than a person that's poor in a day. It's just a choice of what you do with the time that makes the difference, right?
The reason people are poor is they don't budget their money, and they don't budget their time. You know, here's, so I'll do it tomorrow, and I'm going, I really don't have time to talk to you. I'm not here to convince you. As I said, your only competition is the future, because tomorrow is not going to be like today. Just because you have a job today doesn't mean you have a job tomorrow. Just because you're rich today doesn't mean you're rich tomorrow. Because you have no idea what these guys are going to do, government. You have no idea.
Yeah, you're at their mercy, aren't you?
I don't trust my government, and I don't trust your government.
Yeah.
I obey the laws, but I don't trust them. You know, I would never break South African law, but I don't trust them. That's a big difference.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I always say to people, because people make it very local, they go like it's a South African that has corruption in government, and it's like all governments are corrupt, right?
No, you guys, South Africa's in good shape. You should see some other countries I go to. Like I go to Malaysia, man, I tell you, those guys, they're so corrupt. I can't believe it. Hawaii, where I grew up, is the worst state. Hawaii has the most corrupt government of all 50 states. So I grew up with it.
Yeah.
You know, so to pretend your government's honest, Jesus, wake up. You know, you got to wake up.
Just the nature of the beast, right? And yeah, so just yet as well, South Africans and other Africans, you know, what Robert's really saying is that the very system of bureaucracy lends itself to corruption. So, you know, different levels, but the point is, it's, you know, we're at the mercy of a system that's fundamentally corrupt, which means we shouldn't live our lives revolving around it.
Correct. And please don't let South Africa take it personally, because you guys have Zuma. I don't know if he's still there or not.
No,
that guy in Zimbabwe, you know, and we have Obama and Clinton and Trump. I mean, so the reason Tom Wheelwright's coming to speak with me, everybody in America is happy about the Trump tax cut. Well, again, the poor middle class got screwed on the tax cut. Everybody's happy though, because they don't know anything. But the guys like me who are rich got richer because of the tax cuts. So you say Trump's a criminal? Not to me. I got the tax break. If you didn't get the tax break, that's your problem.
I hear you. That was an interesting scenario that happened there, let's say. But no, our government stabilized nicely. We've got a leader that we have a lot more faith in. But yeah, it's still government. It's still full of corruption and inefficiencies and challenges and what have you. And I think I just want to point out to people, and you can maybe, you know, touch on it, Robert, is like, you know, sometimes people might listen to you and think like you're only talking to people that have money. But I mean, you are famous for teaching people, you know, from scratch, with like starting with next to nothing, on how to convert that into a wealth creation process over time that eventually changes your whole perspective of how you make money and how you earn money and how you keep money. And I think, you know, I just want to make that clear to people. You're not going to, if you come listen to Robert, he's not going to talk at a level that's only for people that have lots of spare cash and have lots of investments to utilize. You're talking to everyone. I mean, that's been your whole thing for decades now, right?
That's it. You know, I mean, most people don't realize their economy is between their ears. You know, if I've always said, if you say you can't do it, or it's easier for the Americans, or it's easier for Europeans, that's between your ears. If you don't change this, if you have no money in your hands today, it's because you haven't changed this yet. And that's what I talk to. You know, it begins with simple little lessons like, who are the three wise men? Well, the three wise men were wise because they sought great teachers. And then, you know, why did the Bible say, and the word becomes flesh? The reason for that is because the people that say, I can't do it, I can't afford it, or you guys are lucky, or the rich are evil, then that's who you become. You become your words and your thoughts. And that's why I caution you, you know, for me, I love my family very much, but most are poor, very poor people. College educated, master's degrees, PhDs. If the government didn't take care of them through a government pension, they'd be on the streets. Yeah. And that's what our school systems are teaching people to do, to need government support, government pensions. The thing I love about South Africa, you have fantastic entrepreneurs. And what the world needs are more entrepreneurs, not more employees. So you want to be an employee, go to school. Want to be an entrepreneur? Come listen to what we have to say. But I would never go back to school again. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I failed school, so I love it. Every time you say that, I feel blessed. I didn't have a choice to go to higher level school, but
you don't come to me for brain surgery or fix your car, you know, because I don't know how to do that stuff. But I do know how to be rich. That's the difference. Yeah, and I didn't learn about getting rich in school. I learned getting rich playing Monopoly with my rich dad. You know, 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. That's all. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, Rich Dad, when was Rich Dad Poor Dad? Was written quite a while ago. How many years ago did you write the original book?
21 years ago.
21 years ago. Now, I know you, was there an updated version that came out, I think last year?
Last year's 20th anniversary. And it was just kind of what changed over those 20 years. And it's a very good updated book. People love it. There's another book called More Important Than Money. See, in school, I was never smart because I'm not smart. But I like to ask for help, and asking for help in school is cheating. But in real life, the rich cheat. That's why Tom Wheelwright's coming with me, Sandy is coming with me, and all this, because we ask for help. My poor dad never asked for help because he was an A student.
Yeah.
One of the reasons people are poor is they hang out with people who are poor, who don't know what they're talking about, and they get bad financial advice and financial education. So if you know the difference between good advice and bad advice, and you're afraid to ask for help, you're going to be poor. That's it. It's not that hard. But
and I mean, there's a challenge with the whole financial industry. You know, because the financial industry as a whole has been a challenge as well, because, you know, we told, like in South Africa, you're not supposed to give financial advice unless you're you know, a financial advisor, which is what the term is in South Africa, you know, who sells predominantly insurance or base investment products. But I mean, that's also the problem, is people don't realize they've got to self-educate themselves and not just rely on a mass industry that tells you that they can help you become rich, which is not really true.
Well, that was my last book, which I promoted in South Africa last year, was called Why the Rich Are Getting Richer.
Yeah.
And in that book, I explained why the financial services industry was designed to keep you poor, make them rich, keep you poor. Now, if you don't want to be rich, then talk to a financial advisor. But you don't get rich talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are asking, obviously, your you know, a base of what you used to teach was related to property, and you've got companies that help people with that. You know, some people are still nervous, should they be investing in property in South Africa or elsewhere? But I mean, that's not really the issue, is it? I mean, you know, we've got enough stability not to worry about. I mean, also people think that property is an investment instead of realizing that it's an asset that's supposed to make them money. That's the whole point of the principles of what you teach, isn't it?
Well, it's not the asset. It's the investor. You see, if you're really stupid, no matter what you invest in, you're going to lose money. To think it's real estate or stocks or gold or silver or bonds and all that has nothing to do with whether you get rich. It's you. It's your advisors. If you're stupid and you have bad advisors, you'll be poor. So that's why I come and I talk, and I love South Africa. But you've got to invest in your own self-education there, so you know good from bad, and hang out with people who are learners. Most people are lazy. They want to be told what to do. Oh, buy this stock, buy this property, buy this gold. They're lazy. Don't hang out with lazy people.
And how do you know? I mean, on that point, because I get asked this question often, I mean, there's a lot of people in the market nowadays that are supposedly teaching us how to become rich, or what to do with our money, or how to do things properly. How does an individual that sort of opens themselves up to learning, you know, actually make sure they don't get sort of roped into the wrong advice and the wrong teaching?
Well, unfortunately, that's part of the process. You know, I've had bad teachers as well as good teachers. But that's part of life. That's real life. It's like, how do I know she's the right woman for me? Should I marry her? Well, I don't know. Or is he the right man for me? I don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. And sometimes you don't know until after you get married. It's the same as money. There's no real answer to that. The trouble is those school teachers tell you there's an answer. There isn't an answer. There's trial and error. There's learning. You're going to make mistakes. So, you know, I've been married now for 32 years to a great woman, but I made a mistake with my first wife, you know. And I was a horrible husband. She was a good wife. I was a horrible husband. So I had to change and become a better man. And now I have a great wife. So if you're really stupid, you'll make bad investments. I don't care if it's real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, gold, silver, hogs, avocados. If you're stupid, you'll still be stupid. That's life.
Yeah. I love your bluntness. I've had the privilege to experience it before. And it's one of the things I think that really is something I appreciate from you, that you don't beat around the bush and you don't talk in circles. You kind of say it as it is. I'm
a former U.S. Marine pilot. You know, we don't mince our words. People die if we screw up. If I was a bad pilot, 5 guys died with me. So that's why I'd have no time to, play patty cakes with losers. I really don't. So getting rich is very hard. It is hard. It's not easy. And the way that, and so you got to find the way for you. The most popular way of getting rich is they play the lottery or they marry a rich person, man or woman. That's the way to get rich. If that's your formula, go ahead. That's not my formula. I know Kim didn't marry me for my money because I didn't have any money.
Because you didn't have any when she married you. That's classic. That's classic. You have got a special wife. I have the privilege of meeting her, I must say. She's a very special wife.
I have two friends now who just joined the Millionaires Club, and I give them a lot of grief on this. I said, I thought they were millionaires. No, they just joined the Millionaires Club. So what does that mean? They pay their wives $1 million a year. And so I laugh at them, because that's $1 million for a lot of people a year is a lot of money. But the wife's happy, somebody else is having sex with them. I said, you pay for that guy to have sex with them, they get pissed at me. But I always remind them that, why is divorce so expensive? You know why? Because it's worth it.
Yeah, that's probably so true.
So a lot of guys and women make the mistake of marrying the wrong person. Yeah. But a lot of people just hang out together even though it's wrong. I don't have any problem with divorce. I just don't want to spend my time in misery.
Yeah.
It's really up to you. And most marriages, as you know, aren't happy. They're pretty painful.
Yeah. You've been there.
Money. They don't have money.
And Robert, one last thing. There is this kind of scarcity belief amongst a lot of people, and I'm sure if the world can accommodate a lot more rich people, right? The world can accommodate as many people that choose to go out there and become successful financially. It's not something that's limited. It's something that anyone can do. It's not, the restriction and the lack of the massive middle class and poor people is just the imbalance of the process. But it doesn't mean for more people to become rich that more people have to become poor, because some people have that kind of, even at subconscious level, and it prevents them from wanting to have more than they need, which is a kind of silly equation. But from your experience, there's no shortage of ability for a lot of people to become rich, right?
No, it's infinite.
Yeah.
So that's the problem is you have a very corrupt education system. America does too. Everybody's corrupt. They teach you nothing about money. There's more money today than ever before, yet there's also more poor people. Yeah. And that's because they went to school and they look for a job, and our money is corrupt. Excuse me. I'll say it again. Government money, the dollar, the yuan, the rand, the euro, the peso, it's corrupt. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the rich don't work for money. And what does that mean? Well, you work for assets that produce money. And unfortunately, our school is a corrupt system. My school system, your school system. So I'm going to be in town. I'll be talking with Tom Wheelwright about taxes, and with Sandy about how the markets crash, you make more money. And you can say that's a bunch of BS, or you can say, well, maybe I better learn that. It's up to you. But school is obsolete. It's just too slow today. I'd rather go to a seminar, get some new ideas, meet some new friends, be willing to make some mistakes, learn from the mistakes, and move on. That's it. I've made a lot of mistakes, but they've been very good for me because I've learned from them. But schools tell you if you make mistakes, you're stupid. And that's why most teachers are poor. They don't make enough mistakes. Or if they make a mistake, they don't learn from them. Why would you want to learn from those people?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Robert, I just want to say thank you so much for your time once again. It really means a lot to us, and we're really excited to have you in South Africa in a few months' time. And I'll let people know more about it now, but I just want to let you go and say thank you so much, and just thank you for what you've done. I think you have really woken up a lot of people to this journey of learning how to do things differently. And your truth and your teaching has been tested through time, and it's been solid for as long as it's been out there. And I think it's amazing that you still, because I know you don't need to go out there and teach people, but you're still out there and sharing as much as you do is something that we're very honored to have. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments over here. What do you do? Don't have any money. Well, you better learn about money. Oh, I don't have any money. Well, what about? Can you give me a tip on real estate? That's not how you get rich. That's a real. You got to study that stuff. I don't have any money. My first investment in real estate, I didn't have any money at all. But I went to school. I studied a seminar, practiced it. So I can learn to raise capital without needing money. Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, why don't you take a seminar? I don't want to do that. Now, why would I help you? You know, most people have a loser mentality. Remember, I was in Cape Town, which is one of the most beautiful cities on earth, and I was talking to the class on how I would invest in Cape Town, and all they say is, "You can't do that here in Cape Town." And I see, you see all those buildings up there? Somebody did what you say can't be done. The same as Johannes. Somebody is doing what you say can't be done. And it's not that nobody can do it. It's that you don't know how to do it. Yeah. And so for all you, I say, well, don't give me a hip and all this. I said, that you're just lying to me, that I can't help you. If you're not willing to invest in your education, then I really can't help you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, look, guys, I think, what we're saying is we're super privileged to have Robert here. He's going to be on stage for probably half of the time. So he'll be doing most of the talking at the Business and Investor Summit. He's bringing people like Tom, bringing people like Sandy, who are just, absolute experts in the area. And it's a beautiful place to go and get this education, even if you're starting out for the first time, or if you're already in the game. Come and learn what's relevant. And even if you saw Robert the last time he was here, I know every time there's a new progression and something different that's happening. So, it's going to be a great opportunity, and we really look forward to seeing you when you're out here.
Yeah, I love to be out there. And remember, we have a Business and Investor Summit and then uncoveringgreatness.com. But I'm talking to people who are proactive on learning. If you want me to give you an answer, go to school. Go to school. Go to school and be poor like my poor dad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate your time. Okay, so Robert is going to be at the Business and Investors Summit on the 28th and 29th of July, 2018, Sandton Convention Center in Johannesburg, South Africa. And Robert's going to be speaking there. He's also going to have some of his advisors and friends with him. But he'll be speaking at least half of the time over those 2 days. But he has people like Sandy Jadeja with him, who's a chief marketing strategist. Sandy's actually just this, I've met him before, he's just this incredible guy who has this incredible knowledge about stock markets, both locally and internationally. And he teaches you stuff that actually just blows you away in understanding the context around investments and what's happening in the world. It's just unbelievable. Tom Wheelwright is one of Robert's Rich Dad advisors, and he's a tax expert. And again, even though he's international, his what he talks about tax is so relevant to us in South Africa as well. And basically anywhere in the world, and absolutely brilliant as well. Amazing guy. Again, had the privilege of meeting him before. So, these are the kind of people that are going to be speaking with Robert, and it's pretty straightforward. Like, if you want to take your business, your life to a different financial level, if you want to take your business to a different financial level, you want to attend this event. So there's going to be specialists talking about business as well. But if you know that you want to shift your financial destiny, you want to go out there and produce incredible results and really create financial freedom and wealth in your life, you definitely want to be at this event. It's worth traveling for. People will come from all over Africa and all over South Africa to attend in Johannesburg. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So these are the prices, right? There are 4 ticket categories. We've got silver, gold, diamond, and platinum. Now, we've managed to secure some incredible discounts for you on the back of this webinar. So you're going to be really excited to see how I can reduce these, but you've got to take advantage of this now. If you really want to get these incredible discounts, you must take advantage of it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what the incredible discounts are. You can see them on screen. So we've managed to get the prices down significantly from what they are set at. And just for you guys on this webinar, so you really want to take advantage of that by clicking on the link that'll actually come up now on the side of the webinar, and you can actually go and click through and buy those straight away. But let me just explain a little bit about them. So silver and gold are pretty much your base tickets. Silver's kind of right at the back. There will be 4,500 people there. Gold is sort of in the middle of the venue, and there's a couple of extra benefits. Diamond is a completely different experience. You get to you get your own independent registration and a special diamond lounge, and you sit right in the front, and you get lunch every day and a whole lot of additional value adds as well. Platinum's a new, really, really amazing opportunity, but very limited. It's just limited to 100 people. And Platinum actually gets you to have a private dinner with Robert, with the other Platinums, where Robert will actually come meet everybody, and he'll spend a few hours with the Platinums on the Friday night before the event. And then you will also get private Q&A sessions with Robert and pictures with Robert, and then you get all the diamond benefits when you go to the event as well. So Platinum's really for those people that want to actually connect and rub shoulders with Robert and possibly some of his leading experts as well. So that's a really sort of privileged ticket with 100, and I know a bunch have already been taken, so that's very, very, very limited. But otherwise, it's for all different types of affordabilities, depending on where you stand, and it's worthwhile getting there. So make sure you click on the link on the right of your screen, or if you're on your mobile, I think it'll be just below, somewhere where the chat box is. You should find something that says offers, or the link should be already visible. Click on that link, it'll take you through to where you can purchase tickets, and this limit is this offer. So make sure you take advantage. We've arranged it just for this webinar, and I promise you it is the best investment you can make towards your financial independence, towards your wealth creation in the year of 2018. There's nothing better you can do than actually attend this 2-day event in Johannesburg, South Africa, on the 28th and 29th of July. It's going to be absolutely awesome. That's a Saturday, Sunday, obviously, so it's over a weekend. So do yourself a favor and get there. Click on the link on the right. If you're having any issues, leave a message for us. But you want to take advantage of this. It's a limited offer. Click on the link, go through, purchase which one makes sense to you. People often ask me, what would I recommend? Well, I would, personally, I'd probably go platinum, but, I wouldn't go less than diamond for my own personal equation, but that's because I do events all over the world, and I like to sort of have a more, personal VIP kind of experience. But, honestly, it doesn't matter. You're not going to lose out on the education by being in silver or gold. Diamond's just going to give you a much sort of higher end experience and much closer to the stage, and meals during each day, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously platinum is very personal. You get to meet Robert and maximum 100 other people in the platinum sort of equation. You have a special dinner with him, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really up to you. But the key is get your tickets. All right, because this event is bound to sell out, and this price is an incredible price that we've secured for you through this webinar. So make sure you take advantage of it. Get your tickets at these incredible prices. I mean, what's 697 Rand to ensure that you can end up spending 2 full days with Robert Kiyosaki speaking for at least half that time on both days, and then some of his advisors and experts in the field of business, in the field of taxation, in the field of investment, who are going to be there to advise you on what's happening right now in the world, what you should be focusing on now, to not sort of get caught up in the things, the rapidly changing financial world that we live in. This is an opportunity to be right up to date with it. You heard Robert throughout the webinar say how important education is. And I kept on emphasizing, if you want me to just tell you what to do, then go to school. But if you want to come and learn about what actually is happening, and learn the kind of tools that you need and the strategies you need to understand in order to make your own decisions around how to use your money, how to create wealth, how to succeed in business from a financial perspective, then you definitely want to be at this event. It is an incredible, incredible, incredible opportunity. So you don't want to miss out, guys. So I can go on about this for ages, but I want you to click on the link and go and get your tickets. Now you can decide, well, you know what, maybe not. And then you can carry on with your life the way it is, and you cannot create wealth, and you cannot do anything that's going to substantially affect your life financially. Or you can sort of say, you know what, for the small minimal investment, all right, like 697 Rand, how can you go wrong with that? For 2 full days of education from some of the top people in the world, including Robert Kiyosaki himself, how could you possibly not take that opportunity? And if you're listening to this webinar from anywhere else in South Africa, or for that matter, even in other parts of Africa, I know people that are flying in from Kenya, I know people that are flying in from the Middle East, I know people that are flying in from Nigeria, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Botswana, all over the continent, right? So don't tell me you're in Durban and this is a mission because it's not coming there. Why can't it come there? This event costs an absolute fortune to put on. Robert is, financially completely independent. He doesn't have to do these things. He's doing a favor for Success Resources by putting this event on at this time in South Africa. So it's an absolute privilege. So get on an airplane, fly with these nominal costs and tickets. Book a hotel, book a guest house, book a ticket and get yourself here. You've got some time to make that happen, and make sure you are in South Africa or in Johannesburg on the 28th and 29th of July at the Sandton Convention Center for the Business and Investors Summit with Robert Kiyosaki. Guys, this is going to change your life. It's up to you. Are you going to take action? Are you going to make it happen? If so, click on the link. If you're having any problems with your payments or processing, please just pop a message into the question box. But at the end of the day, I really want you to click on the link, and I want you to go and take action and get yourself a ticket and make sure you don't miss out on this incredible discounts that we've secured you for this webinar as well. I'm going to shut up now because I can go on and on about this. But, once again, it was amazing talking to Robert. And thanks so much for sticking it out on this webinar. It says a lot about your own commitment to your self-development and your financial future. So click on the link, make sure you get a ticket, and we'll see you in July in Johannesburg, South Africa. Ciao for now.